This is Neutral Ice.
Santa Fe on a one-on-one, walking in shorthanded, brings it to the middle, shot on Bishop, and he makes the save, and the fans here go crazy. Now after the whistle, more rough stuff, and Salon gets in there pushing and shoving a player. Fans down in that end, getting into it, and here we go. Salon drops the mitts. Miller's got a guy down. Oh, Miller! Whoa! Throwing the uppercuts. Miller's just feeding that guy down in the corner. Whoa! Right after that one, more action. Here we go.
Buffalo's best hockey show every Monday night.
Krug wants a man. Wow, there's a guy down in the corner. Miller's just beating the tar out of him. We've got a Santa Fe player in the corner just toasted. And now Hatch wants Bishop. Go! Go, you two, go! I want to see it! Come on, Benny! Hatch wants Bishop! Here we go! Hatch and Bishop going at it! The two goalies! Here we go! They're squaring off at center! The crowd going nuts! Bishop backing off! Now he wants Hatch! Get in there, Ben! Fight! Ah, here we go! Bishop lands a right! Takes down Hatch! Crowd going crazy! Woo! Holy moly!
Now, here are your hosts, Nick Lippa and Jack Sullivan.
That away, Benny! That's as loud as I've heard this crowd in a long time.
On Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM, WBNY.
91.3 FM, WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State College Student Activity Fee. You're listening to Neutral Ice every Monday night here from 8 to 9. This is when the hour we talk about hockey. Joined in studio by Brayton Wilson, Frank Arcuri, Derek Kramer. And around 8:30, we will have General Fanager founder Tom Poraszka on the show for a live interview on the show.
Yes.
General Fanager, as many know, has kind of served as a replacement for the
Capgeek.
capgeek.com. Basically, website everyone's been using for cap numbers and money for the for NHL contracts and such. So we'll have him on at 8:30. Of course, we got Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals getting ready to go off at United Center between the Blackhawks and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Blackhawks, of course, winning the past two games to go up 3-2 in the series, and they'll try to close out the Tampa Bay Lightning at home. It would be their first Stanley Cup victory at home since 1938, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, so they have not won a Stanley Cup at home since, I mean, who was president then? I don't even know. Probably Eisenhower or something.
Klepto, the cat.
Very possible. Your goaltenders in that, of course, will be Ben Bishop and Corey Crawford. There's a huge storm going through Chicago right now. Pictures on Twitter right now of plastic coverings over the seats as part of the roof is even leaking at United Center.
Oh.
Yeah, so
That's going to be fun.
That's not fun. I know I saw Mike Harrington from the Buffalo News complaining about the weather earlier there, which, I mean, you live in Buffalo, so you should probably never be complaining about the weather anywhere else. But
That's Mike Harrington.
We also have Nick Lippa returning to the show via phone call. Nick, is this Studio B Nick Lippa?
Oh,
or
God, no. Please don't.
Studio A Nick Lippa?
That's normal Nick Lippa.
It's normal Nick Lippa. Well, Nick,
Yeah.
first, how you been, and how have you been enjoying Stanley Cup playoffs as of late?
Oh, the Stanley Cup playoffs have been terrific. I got to say, they're my go-to now that Steph Curry's just destroyed LeBron in the NBA. That whole team is just depressing. It was a very depressing Game 5 to watch. So I'm very excited. And it's so fitting, the storm coming in. Did you say 1938 last time?
1938 was the last time the Chicago Blackhawks
And you
won the
said
Stanley Cup.
Eisenhower? What is wrong
No,
with you?
I was wasn't thinking.
Was that a joke?
It was not supposed to be
better
serious. It was not supposed to be serious.
The
Don't worry.
cat.
Oh, man.
That's more serious, really.
FDR, Joe.
Yes,
FDR.
FDR. It's who I was trying to spit out there.
No, I got you. The playoffs have been absolutely great, but as you know, especially being a Buffalo fan, it's been all talk and rumors the past couple of weeks, and I've been gearing up for that. And it doesn't matter where you are in Western New York. I've been in Rochester the past couple of weeks getting my affairs in order, and I can tell you what, even here, there's been a lot of talk about what are the Sabres going to do. It's the first time in a long time where you say, hey, this player's on the move, and you go, wow, the Sabres may be in talks for that. It seems like every possible player that may be on the movie, you go, maybe he could fit on the Sabres, whether it's potentially, as rumored earlier today, with Rick Nash, or whether it's potentially a guy like Cam Talbot, who they said Talbot may be on the go. There's a lot of rumors flying around the NHL, and the Stanley Cup Finals have been absolutely terrific. But between that and between the Coyotes' whole ordeal, which has just been a mockery, they're giving up ownership, correct? Ownership's being relieved from the Coyotes again.
No,
the
it's
arena lease.
No, it's the arena lease. The city of Glendale wanted to void the 15-year lease agreement with the Coyotes.
Didn't they sign that 2 years ago?
Yes, and they got now they got a restraining order restricting the city of Glendale from doing that.
Well, they also, but isn't the owner? There was something that was reported earlier today about the owner giving up majority share for the Arizona Coyotes earlier.
Oh
today.
yeah, Barroway. Well, I think
this is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I did not hear about that.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's happening. So Arizona's, I mean, you're talking about, this is the night of Game 6, and Arizona's just a story during the Cup Finals. NHL is a unique sport because the finals are happening right now. The NHL season could end tonight, and we're less than 2 weeks away from Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel being officially on an NHL team, being drafted by an NHL team. That's absolutely crazy. It's unlike really any sport. It just never really stops. So it's been really exciting. Is really how to put it. The NHL, if you're really into the off season, and if you're in Buffalo, you should be right now because it's really exciting. If you don't like hockey, you're about to, because the face of American hockey is about to come to Buffalo and Jack Eichel, and there's a lot that's going to come with it because that kind of talent brings other talent with it. I know we talked about that on the show before, but it's very, very exciting. I'm very excited. It's just, oh man, there's so many possibilities. I just can't wait to get to the draft. And especially, it's like, oh man, I've been having talks about goalies being on the market. Is it a buyer's or seller's market for goalies? I mean, if you guys don't mind me asking, I had a great conversation last night with somebody about this. What do you guys think it is as a market for goalies? As Buffalo is in the market for a goalie, do you think it's a buyer's market or a seller's market? I personally think that it is a buyer's market for goalie, but what do you guys think?
I kind of agree with you that it's a buyer's market just because, I mean, it seems like there's so many guys available. You got Robin Lehner possibly available in Ottawa. Eddie Lack's been rumored. Even Dallas as of late. Kerry Lettonen's name's been floated in trade rumors.
Really?
Because I believe they relieved their goaltender coach. And
They just hired a new goaltender coach today.
and
Which they needed to.
Right, and they said Lettonen could be available. And then you've got, I mean, Antiniemi's going to be a free agent, so San Jose's going to be looking for a goalie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of turnover, so I kind of agree with you. It's a buyer's market.
Too.
Cam Talbot.
The Stars hired Jeff Reese as their new goaltending coach.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'll make Lettonen possibly available. I mean, just if you're the Sabres right now, you have so many options to look around and who you want to be your starting goaltender. Even Martin Jones might be available with restricted free agency. So, are the Leafs going to keep both of their goalies? Like, it just seems like half the league, their goaltending situation is a bit in question, which, I kind of agree makes it a bit more of a buyer's market. So I agree with you there, Nick.
Absolutely.
Quick
same
update on the finals game tonight real quick. Nikita Kucherov, who was hurt in the last game, he will play tonight. And so will Jonathan Drouin.
Tampa's going with the same lineup.
Yep, Nestorov will stay out.
Ben Bishop is playing too.
Yes.
From what I
So
hear.
there was some question that Kucherov might miss this game, but he will be playing.
And to go back to the Coyotes point as well, it's Andrew Barroway. He is apparently not. He's not like stepping out of the ownership role. He's just taking a less of a role instead of being the majority owner.
He's selling some of his.
He's selling his
shares.
majority share.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said
He'll
he
still
owns,
own the most shares out of anybody in the organization,
Yeah.
but not the majority share.
He won't be majority.
Still, the thing with the Coyotes is that ownership is just so unstable. Like even a little thing like that where he's selling. I mean, it's not that little, but he's selling his majority stake. Like, I mean, that doesn't happen with every team all the time, and it seems like the Coyotes is just constantly happening.
It's a hot mess. That's really what it is, and you don't like to see teams get moved. There's a community, there's a fan base there, but something's going to give eventually with this. There's just too much going against Arizona. It's one of those things where you're talking. Somebody made a point. Well, hey, if Arizona didn't have a team, Phoenix wasn't there, then maybe a guy like Austin Matthews never puts on his skates. They're like, well, yeah, it does establish hockey in a market that previously didn't have it, like Mike Modano did when he came to Dallas from Minnesota. But it's one of those things where it's like if the community is not going to support the team over a long period of time, something's got to give. When you got a city like Quebec that's begging, they're building an arena, they have an arena, and you got a place like Seattle, I believe, has all their permits to build an arena. Or Las Vegas has been talking about it. Just you have people knocking on the door, and there's just so much conflict. So it's been a hot mess, and it's just something that we're only going to see with time right now because. We don't know where it's going to go. It's really up to the NHL and the community playing this little chess game right now.
Yeah, to go off your point there, yeah, I mean, Las Vegas is building a hockey arena strictly for hockey and for basketball and whatever they want to put there. So that's coming together really well. Quebec, as you said, they got the Videotron Arena, and that's almost near completion. Seattle, they're a little bit of a different situation. They need to have a new arena, but I mean, they could house a hockey team until a new arena is built. But another place that's of interest in the NHL as of late is Portland, Oregon, where they have the Portland Winterhawks of the Western Hockey League. Their arena is NHL size, and they fill up quite often for Winterhawk games. So they've all of a sudden become this potential for an NHL site. The thing is that I think it's that they also have to do what Vegas did, basically fill out like the people of interest, and I think that Portland should have no problems whatsoever getting that interest for an NHL team.
And in the Northwest there with Portland and Seattle, that's been a region that's really grown with sports fandom. If you look at even in soccer, like the Seattle Sounders are the highest drawing MLS team by far, and I mean that's just a fan base that wants sports, and it doesn't really matter what it's going to be. So, I mean, when you look at Seattle right now, they're still waiting. The holdup there is, I think the mayor or whoever is building the arena wants to have an NBA team in place before he starts construction. And what Gary Bettman and a lot of people in the NHL that want to see hockey in Seattle, they want to see that happen. They've been trying to push the issue of, well, you've got to start. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen in the NBA, so now maybe you've got to look at an option where there's a hockey first mentality where you're going to start building the arena with just a hockey team coming in.
I want to see it.
So go ahead.
Sorry, I was to say, it's only time will tell, really. Again, the pieces are in place right now, but for me right now, it's a matter of time for the Coyotes. That's what it really seems like. The league has tried hard enough, and we're coming to a point of where there's just too much against it to keep it where it is. It just doesn't make sense if you're talking about for a need. I mean, you can have the same. If I'm the league, I can have the same expansion to different parts of the country by having a team in Vegas. I can hit up another part of the Northwest. I know you want to have that area of the South pays in the long run. That's the idea. But if it's going to be this much of a hassle, I'm not sure the league's going to want to keep going with that. This is Game 6 of the NHL Finals, and we've had a story the entire final series about Arizona.
And it's been a great finals. I mean, I just saw the NHL PR tweeted that in this Stanley Cup Finals, all 300 minutes of the series so far have been either tied or separated by one goal. So go ahead.
It's been really close, and something to speak of again. Buffalo has been third in rating every game for the finals. Could you imagine if Buffalo ever made it to a finals? Buffalo finished last in the league and are third for each game in the rating.
It would be very possible that if Buffalo made the Cup Finals again, especially with the morale and everything being changed with Tim Murray and Terry Pegula changing this team around, if this team that is going to be built actually makes the Cup Final within like the next 3 to 5 years, you might see TV ratings records be shattered because of the fact that the hype is there.
You have to see this.
Yes,
game.
exactly. Yeah. This team is the next up and coming thing. I think the Buffalo market would probably shatter any TV records that would be out there, and that's granted because Buffalo's the small market hockey team, and they do it based off the population with the ratings. But I think that it would just be astronomical, the ratings, if Buffalo were to make the Cup Finals within like really the next 5 years.
And they had beat LA in a few of the past games in the Cup Finals. When LA was in the Cup, they had beat the Los Angeles market in ratings. So I mean, when you're looking at Buffalo as a hockey market in general, I mean, sometimes there's more people watching from Buffalo than fans in that actual market. So it's a great hockey market. I mean, this has got to be the top one. I know Hockey Town is always labeled with Detroit, but I mean, Detroit's kind of a failing economy. I mean, I don't want to put too much stock into that because fans, you don't want to limit them by money. But when you're looking at ratings and you're looking at team attendance, I mean, Detroit's had some problems with attendance. And Buffalo, I mean, they were last place and they sold out how many games this year? Like, I mean, if that team was in, like, Tampa Bay, I don't think they're selling out nearly as many games as they were.
They may look like Florida if they're in Tampa Bay and they're finishing last place. You're looking at it right now. The Buffalo Sabres have one of the most loyal, sometimes a little too emotional, but it's one of the most loyal fan bases in all of sports. And you can see it when you got people coming. I mean, again, like I said, as embrace the tank. I've never seen anything in sports such as the Buffalo Sabres. The fans unite the idea of losing in a way that I've never seen it happen in any sport like this. I've never seen a fan base.
I don't think
a majority.
I don't think we'll ever see anything else like that. Speaking of the tank, how's the progress on the full length documentary coming along?
Well, it's coming. It's organizing some things because we have to talk about. So for those who don't know, we've been working on a documentary at WBNY and things like that, and now it's getting things in place with I'm trying to get an interview set up with somebody from the Buffalo News, potentially multiple, and I had some talks with Puck Daddy,
Greg Wyshynski, for those who don't know,
and I'm looking to go down to New York City to get an interview with him about that in the future, because there's two major parts that unfolded over the past 2 months because we went out and filmed the draft lottery and all that. But the two major parts are the whole Mike Babcock saga needs to be documented and talked about. Twitter did the best job of that. If anybody wants to learn about what happened during the Mike Babcock saga, the whole Babcock watch, you could just go on to Tim Graham's Twitter page of the Buffalo News and look at basically what I would like to call pretty much just all-out war between everybody. And then eventually it led to Tim Graham and Jeremy White from WGR going at each other on Twitter. Twitter was a battlefield. I mean, that's one of the roughest I've ever seen Twitter. It was basically just kill or be killed. There was almost no neutral ground during the whole Babcock process. It went from Buffalo gloating to Buffalo just becoming so defensive over Babcock leaving and anger. I got to the point of where you had a Shanahan from the Maple Leafs in a press conference, misinformed, talking about people being upset when Buffalo themselves the management never had even made a comment about being upset like that.
Right. Yeah. That was the ugliest I'd ever seen Twitter ever, because people were just people from Buffalo markets were upset. People from other markets were making fun of Buffalo. People from Buffalo markets were responding in angry tweets. Then it started just these stupid online social media fights that were just completely unnecessary. But yeah, I completely agree with you, Nick. To really get a good
to start fights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. But
it was bad.
It was horrible.
Twitter was a war
and you're talking
zone.
between professionals.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just like angry fan. It would be a fan would irate a professional, get him out. He'd say something. You get professionals. It was crazy. It's the craziest I've seen Twitter. But that's been this entire situation for Buffalo.
It's been this entire year.
Yeah. Everybody's been wearing their heart on their sleeve, and sometimes not for the better. And that was kind of the Babcock whole situation. When Bilesma got signed, it was kind of just like, okay, there's a lot that we can just be happy about right now. So let's just be happy about this right now. They're giving away his autographed pen, I think. They're doing something like that on Twitter now. It's just that was a good moment for everybody. Best quote, by the way, of the Twitterverse of that night was Tim Murray's reaction. Tim Murray had a wonderful interview on WGR afterwards when all of this got kind of caught up, and they're just like, what did you do? And Tim Murray's like, well, Babcock called me, said, we're out. I went out. I went out of the room. I made a sandwich, and I went back to work. And I was like, "That's right." Tim Murray made a sandwich and went back to work. And
that sounds like a very Tim Murray thing to say.
That is definitely a Tim Murray thing to say.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I have to give credit to Tim Murray for everything, because the media during it, after it, before it was just relentless with like, "Are you talking to Mike Babcock? What are you saying? What are you offering him? Blah blah blah." And Tim Murray just straightforward, like he always is, in a calm, really good professional demeanor, just said it without giving too many details. And then when it didn't happen, he's just like, it sucked that we didn't get him, but I got over it very quickly, and we just it's the business. We got to move on. And And yeah, it was just amazing seeing these guys on Twitter, with some of them with verified accounts, professionals in the field, getting into these huge just disagreements and fights about the whole Mike Babcock thing and Buffalo being unlucky. But you know what? We still got Dan Bilesma, and that's pretty darn good.
Fastest coach in national history to 250 wins.
Yes,
if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I mean, you're looking at it's a really good time to be Buffalo, and I know I only got 5 minutes before we go to break. But I just wanted to add, too, about looking at Buffalo, things to think about for the future before we get to the draft. Again, we're only 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away from the draft.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh.
It's amazing.
But you're looking at it right now, and the Sabres, we talk about when are they going to be able to compete. This is the time, the next 4 weeks, really, because the Sabres could be anywhere from a year to 3-4 years. And I say a year because the Sabres have so much ammunition to trade. People do not realize the pipeline of prospects. NHL GMs know. Tim Murray knows. Dude's got, 6 picks in the first 3 rounds?
Yeah.
You guys know what Buffalo has going in there. And I can almost guarantee there won't be 6 players selected in the first 3 rounds for Buffalo. Something's getting traded. There's going to be goalies that are going to be flying. You see all these rumors about people. Where's Kessel going to go? Is there somebody there's a report earlier today, the St. Louis Blues. Where are their forwards going? If the St. Louis Blues decide, and this is the interesting thing, the Blues have a lot of cap restrictions. Somebody brought up a really good point. For me, I had put out of my mind that Tarasenko was untouchable. Tarasenko is a guy that if somebody makes him an $11 million deal, the Blues are going to have 48 hours to match that, and they're going to have to shed so many contracts because of the cap situation. That's going to be all hell. Quote from Tim Murray a couple of weeks ago. He was asked about offer sheets. He's like, "Yeah, I'll probably make an offer sheet. I'll probably piss somebody off." And then after that, who cares? That's Tim Murray. I literally ended that comment with "Who cares?"
Mm-hmm.
He's going to upset somebody, but he doesn't care because that's how the business works. And that's something that's interesting. So you're talking about, is Buffalo going to make an offer sheet for a player? Is it going to be a superstar player, something like Tarasenko? Are they going to go out there and make a trade? Maybe the Blues trade somebody. Is there a guy like Stasny because he's got a big cap that they have to get rid of? There's so much floating around. There's so much cap problems. The Rangers got cap problems. The Bruins got cap problems. You know that the Blackhawks, Patrick Sharp is going to be potentially available. He's a name that floats around. If not, Stott is a guy but I think they're going to hang on to Stott, which may make Sharp more available. So instead of him, it may make him a little bit more affordable because they know they'll have to get rid of him to re-sign Stott. So you're looking at all of these potentials, and the real thing you need to be thinking about as a Sabres fan right now is not, are the Sabres going to make the move? What move are the Sabres going to make? And if you're thinking about the Sabres, you're looking at, is it going to be a top 6 forward? Is it going to be a top 2 defenseman? Is it going to be a goalie? Or is it going to be a combination of 2 or 3? Or is it going to be all 3 of those things? And that's the crazy thing to think about because it's all prospect. And I've heard 2 reports just from the day that came out. One about the Rangers with Rick Nash and Cam Talbot, and the other about the St. Louis Blues talking about trading one of their forwards. So a lot to be looked at going in, and we're going to know more and more as we get to the draft. But you can feel the anticipation of a big trade coming on. And Murray's the guy who said, well, maybe I'm just going to trade up in the draft. Also, the Red Wings a couple of days. Brayton, I remember you tweeted about this. Mantha not available at the trade deadline. Mantha very available now for talks and trades, including the 19th pick.
Mantha and Detroit's first round.
And the Sabres sit where?
Mantha and the first round pick for Detroit.
Yeah. So you're looking at it right now. It's absolutely, it's insane right now. If you're in the hockey world, if you're GMs, and everybody's just took in the NHL Combine. If this series ends tonight, I would expect to see just lots of talks, lots of rumors. It's going to pick up and it's going to keep going up until the draft. This is arguably the biggest draft we've seen in the past 20 years. I think it's making for one of the most exciting and biggest off seasons we've seen the past 20 years as well. So I'm very, very excited. And as a Buffalo fan, you should be too, because man, this is off season. This could be the difference between whether it's going to be a 3-year uptick or a 1-year uptick to where they get to maybe being a playoff team.
Nick, real quick, who do you got winning the Stanley Cup Finals? Who do you got winning, first of all, tonight, Tampa Bay or Chicago?
I'm going to answer both your questions, and I'm going to be a little bit ballsy. And I've said the Blackhawks, like when I was talking with somebody else earlier today, but I thought about it and I've looked at some stuff, and if Ben Bishop stops doing his Marty Turco impression, I think that the Lightning are going to win. I just think that if Stamkos gets a goal or gets going tonight, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. the Blackhawks have been depending on Duncan Keith. By the way, the Blackhawks went Duncan Keith as MVP for me, hands down, for the series. But if you look at what Tampa Bay's been able to do with Hedman, I think he's been terrific. It's been what they call the coming out party. I think the Lightning are going to take this in 7. I think they're going to take it by surprise. The Blackhawks have been absolutely terrific, but they've been 1-goal games. And I think that if Bishop doesn't make the mistakes that he made, that the Lightning were in a position to win last game. I think, although for most of the other games as well. So I think the Lightning are going to pull this out in 2 games. I think it's going to be close and nail-biting. And Chicago has just they've been able to get it out. But I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to take both games.
Very good. Nick, thank you for calling in and joining us, and we're looking forward to having you back in the studio very soon, my friend.
Thanks for having us, guys, and I can't wait to listen to the interview coming up.
All right, sounds good. Nick Lippa, our host on Neutral Ice, joining us from his home in Rochester. Be sure to follow him on Twitter at Nicholas Lippa. That's Nicholas with an H. So we are going to go to a quick break right now, but don't go away, because when we come back, we will have the founder of GeneralFanager.com, Tom Poraszka, joining us next right here on Neutral Ice. 91.3 FM WBNY. You're listening to Neutral Ice Live on your radio dial at 91.3 FM. Currently joining us right now on the phone is the founder of GeneralFanager.com, Tom Poraszka, is joining us now. Tom, I'm saying your last name correctly, right?
Not quite. It's Tom Poraszka.
Oh, Poraszka. Okay. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Well, Tom, thank you for taking the time to join us here on Neutral Ice. We're very happy that you could take the time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I guess the first thing I got to ask is, where did you? I mean, obviously, Cap Geek probably had an influence on coming up with General Fanager. Where did you get the name General Fanager, and tell us about the background of how General Fanager became what it is now?
Yeah, sure. So I was an avid Cap Geek user, used it daily, much more than that, to be honest. So when the site went down in January, it was a void for me, but I think a void throughout kind of hockey fans everywhere, and it wasn't hard to kind of hear that from fans. You talk to just friends that also watch the game, but even just looking on Twitter, every once in a while you would always see someone kind of pop up and say how much they missed it. So that was kind of the inspiration for it. I think Cap Geek was a really great resource, and it's hard to imagine that anyone will be able to kind of replicate all the great work that Matthew did at Cap Geek. But that was kind of the initial inspiration, and it was kind of just a pet project that I decided to start working on. I didn't know what was kind of going to come of it, but I knew I kind of wanted to work on something hockey related, and it helped me kind of stay motivated to knowing that people wanted something like this. So that's how it kind of started. The name, it was really the best option of not many. I thought of a couple options, but there weren't many that I really liked, and I thought General Fanager was kind of playful and fit the bill, so that's kind of what I went with.
Yeah, and I mean, the site really, it looks really, really nice. I mean, I love the main page where you can search for players, and also all the teams that are there. You can click on the teams. It takes you a link to where you need to go. Talk about some of the other main features that are comparable to like Cap Geek that you have right now.
Sure. So the big thing right now is that you're able to kind of access teams and see their whole commitments to players, all the salary structures and all that sort of thing. Be able to kind of see how they are faring compared to the cap. That's the major resource that people come to see on a site like this. So that's obviously available. We also have player pages with all historical contracts for each player, which I think is important. Fans kind of want to see the exact details of a contract, not just the cap hit, and want to see how that player's contracts have kind of evolved over his career. So that's available, and then we've kind of been working on a few other things as well. So we had a feature that was fairly new, and I hadn't really seen it anywhere else when we launched, and it was a draft pick tracker. So we track all the draft picks that teams own. You're able to see that on the team's pages, but there's also a draft picks summary page as well. we grew from there. We've got a RFA offer sheet eligibility tool down that we recently launched. So that tells you if your team has the draft picks that it needs to be able to submit offer sheets this summer. And yeah, we've got a number of other tools in the works. There's a CBA sort of, we're calling it CBA Explained. So it's a section that kind of explains different features of the CBA that users commonly ask about, or little nuances that not everybody knows about. And we're actively growing that, and we've got some cool stuff that we're working on to put there as well. And then there's other tools coming, like a buyout calculator. CapGeek had an armchair GM that we're working on something similar. So there's a lot coming, and a lot of features that fans have been asking for that we're excited to kind of get out for them.
Sounds excellent. It really does, and I love the tool where you can look at the offer sheet eligibility, because especially here in Buffalo with Tim Murray making the comments saying that he may offer sheet some players, and even if he makes other teams mad, oh well, that's the business. And I think it's a helpful tool for a lot of people that don't really understand how contracts and everything else works like that. I think that that was such a big thing with CapGeek, was that it was resourceful to not only just the regular hockey fan, but it was resourceful to a lot of GMs. I mean, you've heard Don Sweeney make the comments. You've heard, I think it was Peter Chiarelli that also made the comments as well, of like, we used to have CapGeek, but unfortunately it's not there anymore. One feature that I really like, though, is the recent signings section of the page, where you got a lot of the recent contracts that have been confirmed or are pending, really from a lot of sources on Twitter and other sources around hockey. How are you closely associated with any sources in particular yet? I know that you've only been launched for probably about a month, but have you developed any close sources with any of the hockey brass people?
Yeah, so we launched, and it was primarily, all our contracts were based on just public knowledge and stuff that CapGeek had already collected and published. So that was our primary source since we launched. We've kind of grown from there. We continue to use reported values for immediate sort of release. So as soon as a contract's announced, the reported values, if they are, we're able to post those, but we'll typically mark them as unconfirmed, and you'll see that anywhere that a contract's highlighted yellow. And then we have some sources. We're working with a site that's called War on Ice. They have some sources that they have tapped into, and they've been working with us closely to help us confirm contracts. And then we've got a couple of sources of our own that we can't really tell you where they're coming from, but they're helping us confirm contracts actively. So very often you'll see our contracts get updated and confirmed before any other sites have them, and that's because we do have some sources that do have access to the info, but yeah, we can't really talk too much about that.
Tom Poraszka is joining us here on Neutral Ice on the phones live here.
Tom, have you been enjoying the NHL playoffs, or the Stanley Cup playoffs in particular?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a great year.
Just a question on your personal opinion on contracts in terms of like offer sheets and RFAs. You've got one in particular here in Brandon Saad playing for the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago, of course, getting closer to the cap. Just your personal opinion, going over all these contracts and seeing how teams usually do them. What would be like just your personal guess on like what would happen with the Brandon Saad and Chicago and their cap troubles right now?
Yeah, I could see a team potentially offering an offer sheet for him. It's as good a candidate as any in recent years. We've obviously seen like the Shea Weber's got one, and there's been a couple others, but I think with Saad, it's hard to imagine that the Hawks wouldn't match whatever came their way. I think a lot of what we hear is that the compensation levels through the draft pick system of offer sheets isn't high enough for those type of players to kind of let them go. So I think Chicago will probably be trying pretty quickly to sign them before that offer sheet window opens up. And if they're not able to, I would imagine that whatever offer sheet he signs, Chicago will probably match just because he's so core to that team.
Now, Tom, with I know that today there was a few contract signings, including like Torrey Mitchell, also like Derek Ryan from the Swedish Hockey League. But free agency's coming up in about 2 weeks now. How are you preparing for free agency?
Yeah, so we've been kind of actively optimizing our entry system. So it's pretty quick for us to now enter contracts. And you'll see as they come through, we usually have them up pretty quickly. And yeah, I've got a team of guys ready to kind of tag along and enter contracts with me. We're expecting a nice flood of contracts on that day, so I think it'll be pretty busy. We'll probably have continuous flow of coffee and energy drinks to kind of keep up with it all. But yeah, I think we're ready and we'll be able to keep up with it.
Tom, do you find it frustrating when you're putting contracts in your sites that a lot of times they're unconfirmed? Like, even if you just go to recent signings, a lot of the recent ones are in yellow. Do you kind of find it frustrating that teams don't just disclose what the actual figures of a contract are?
Yeah, for someone that does this for a site, it is a little bit frustrating that you can't just easily get the information and compile it for users. But I think there's some reasoning for that. The teams don't really want all that information public. I don't think you, as an organization, you really want everybody knowing what you're paying your employees, and I think that makes sense. But I think we're seeing a trend. There's a lot of teams that are releasing that information, and you'll see, like, Carolina Hurricanes do a great job of it. In every article that they post a signing, they'll post the figures, and I think there's a trend going towards that. Washington, when they announced a signing today, they have the details for it. Ottawa now typically also releases details. So it's more and more trending towards teams releasing that information, and they might not release it in exact detail, but you'll get a good sense of it. And then what we're going to be doing is just actively confirming those numbers with our sources and kind of getting the finer details of those contracts if there is any.
Tom Poraszka joining us once again here on Neutral Ice. Tom, there's another site out there that was just recently launched that's very similar to General Fanager. It's called capfriendly.com. Did you know about this website before it was launched, or did you just, kind of launch it, or was it just a coincidence that it was almost exactly at the same time both were launched?
Yeah, when I was getting close to my launch, I saw a couple other accounts open up on Twitter and started talking about the site that they were coming up with, and one of those was Cap Friendly. So I knew there was another product coming. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. We've had conversations with the guys at Cap Friendly. They seem like great guys, and we respect what they're doing. We don't necessarily see them as competition. We think that it's great that this information is now available to users, and if they have a selection of sites that they get to go to, then I think that's great for them. It was just a few weeks, probably about a month ago, that we didn't have anywhere to go. There was a couple options, but I think that those options have really expanded, and there's a lot of great options now for fans. And if they find a site that they like better than General Fanager, we're okay with that. We just want to make sure that all the data is available to people and it's as accurate as it can be so that fans can really engage in it.
Now, Tom, I see your guys' interactions on Twitter, and if you don't follow General Fanager on Twitter, by the way, I suggest you would. It's just at General Fanager. You guys do a lot of really nice interactions on Twitter with some of the teams and some of the some of the hockey analysts and hockey gurus that are out there reporting these contracts. I think you guys do a really nice job of doing interaction with the social media. I think that's really key, especially with breaking news coming from Twitter. Like, the first source is going to be coming from Twitter. I think you guys do a really nice job of really engaging with followers and other personnel.
Well, thank you. I think we're kind of new to it. I've used Twitter in the past, but as an account that's serving a lot of users, it's new to us. But as we see it, we're just kind of trying to help people as much as we can. The response since we've launched has been incredible. It's really made the site feel like it's more of a community effort than something I worked on. We got a lot of feedback when we first launched, and that helps get a lot of our little mistakes and errors in order, and the site has benefited a lot from that. Even some of the new features that we launch are kind of inspired by different things that reporters say they might want to see or fans say they want to see. And so the site's only going to grow based on community involvement. So we're tremendously appreciative of that, and we truly do see it as a community effort, so we're trying to share that.
Tom, one last thing. Who do you got winning tonight?
I'm just hoping for Tampa to win, so there's another game. It's been a great series, and I'd love to watch another game.
Good man.
Good man, excellent. All right, well, Tom, anything else for us?
No, just thanks for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. Thank you for taking the time, and best of luck during the NHL draft and free agency and getting those contracts signed and everything.
Yep, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right. Tom Poraszka joining us on the phones live here from Neutral Ice, 91.3 FM WBNY. That was a great interview. Really, it was insightful with how things go with a new cap salary site.
Just the existence of General Fanager and Cap Friendly too. I just started using that a little bit, but it's just when Cap Geek left, like I used Cap Geek probably on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even when I was just starting off with like writing blogs and stuff on my One Side on Sports blog, I mean, one of the first articles I wrote about was Cap Geek going away and how it's going to leave a huge hole in all just like hockey media people and fans, and that by far was like my most viewed blog. And it shows that people, they really cared about Cap Geek and what they were doing. And I mean, they named the Traverse City Prospects tournament after Matthew Weiss, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, people are recognizing his contribution, and I think it's really good that like what Tom's doing and others are. They're creating sites that are trying to help fill that gap that Cap Geek really left.
And again, we thank Tom Poraszka for joining us on Neutral Ice. Sort of a last-minute thing. I just asked him last night to join us, and right away he was like, "Yeah, absolutely, I'd love to come on and join you." So yes, very good, excellent. So, anyways, to update you on the Stanley Cup Finals right now, the Blackhawks and Lightnings are currently still tied at 0-0.
Lightnings.
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 Did I say Lightnings?
You said
Is
Lightnings.
it Lightnings?
No, it's Lightning.
Or is it Lightnings?
Lightning. Well,
They should make a new rule. No team name nicknames that don't end in S.
Yes, that is true.
So they will be the Lightnings.
Are they
well,
wild?
Well, there's lightnings in Chicago right now because before the game there was a severe thunderstorm that moved through Chicago, and a bunch of lightnings hit a lot of buildings in
there.
Chicago's.
Oh, I like what you did there.
Bishop's been busy here. 12 shots on goal already. I think it's 11 or 12. I saw 11. I think I saw another shot happen. But Bishop's been busy. He's been playing the puck again. He actually got pinned to the boards by Jonathan Taves. Luckily, no disaster happened from that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to see any like big mayhem brawls or anything in the Stanley Cup Finals. No one wants to get thrown out, especially if you're Jonathan Taves.
Stamkos had a golden opportunity to score.
Yep, hit the post.
Yeah.
I while we're kind of on Stamkos real quick, I have a question about him. He's kind of similar to Alex Ovechkin in the fact that they're both like they're snipers and they're the top two goal scorers in the league. Ovechkin's never gotten to the conference finals. Am I correct?
You are correct.
That is correct.
I know in the NBA, players get judged a lot on how their team success goes and like how many titles they have. Like LeBron James forever was always just downplayed because he didn't have that title. Hockey, it's not really the same. I mean, like Sidney Crosby is definitively like the best player in the league by most accounts, and I mean he only has one cup. It's not like he's won a ton.
To believe.
So to me, when we're looking at like Steven Stamkos, do we put him on another level than Alex Ovechkin because he was able to get to the Stanley Cup Finals?
I wouldn't necessarily say so because even the best players on an NHL team, like forwards, they see a third of the game in ice time, like maybe 22 minutes most.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we've seen Duncan Keith this postseason be a revelation and playing half of the game, and that's still only half the game. Where in the NBA, you get guys that are on the floor for all but like 4 minutes.
That's a good point.
So there is a bit of a difference there that, there's a lot that can be done in the 40 minutes that a top forward's not on the ice for.
Yeah, I agree. It's really more of a team game.
It's much more of a team game. And, it's tough to really put people on certain pedestals just because they haven't won. I mean, you look at the Bishop play that happened, Bishop and Hedman colliding back on Saturday. And that one was it's just a horrible gaffe. Stamkos happened to be on the ice for it, but he's not going to get any blame for it. It's it's something that happens to the team.
Let me ask this: of all three of you right now, how many of you would consider Alex Ovechkin clutch?
I would say
I
say
definitely
he
want him out there
is.
on the ice for the
Yes.
last 2 minutes of a hockey
Yeah.
game.
And
Let me ask
he's proven to step up in big moments.
Okay, and then let me
Yes.
ask you this: if he was on Chicago instead of Pat Kane, do you think he would be considered more clutch?
I mean,
If
I
he-
feel like
that
a lot of it
depends.
is his
It
situation.
depends on his actions.
it depends on actions and who else you got around you. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
Kane's got Taves. He's also got, guys like Brandon Saad playing with him.
Sharp,
Marian
Hossa.
Hossa, exactly.
That-
Even guys like Duncan Keith back on the blue line and
Yeah.
Brent Seabrook.
See, that's kind of my point, though. Like, Ovechkin on the Capitals is like, he's their captain, and he's their star. To me, if he's on Chicago, he's got Taves there, and he's got a better supporting cast. I don't feel like he has that label on him that he can't get it done, because I feel if your team gets it done, like what I'm trying to say really is, like, I don't feel like he should be judged on the fact that he has not gotten the Stanley Cup Finals.
You're absolutely right. I'm picking up what you're putting down here. I don't think that Ovechkin should deserve the blame for never making the conference finals, because part of it has been how the team has been constructed. But then with Orpik and Niskanen, they were a lot tougher of an out this past postseason against the Rangers.
And Holtby was improved.
Holtby was
Holtby was
improved.
fantastic.
Honestly, I think they should have, without the bad bounce in the Game 7 in overtime, they should have advanced to the conference final against Tampa.
They could have made it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, they could have.
And Stamkos, I feel like he's going to get credit for this. Like, I mean, he's not going to get credit for, like, carrying Tampa to the finals. I mean, he hasn't been a superstar in the playoffs, but he's been very good and he's been reliable. But I don't feel like Stamkos should be getting as much credit as I think I've seen that he's kind of not on another level than Ovechkin, but he's got something Ovechkin doesn't.
By the way, the end of the first period came, and Pat Kane threw a late hit toward Nikita Kucherov, who avoided it. And it was actually quite humorous to watch.
I am not updated yet. NBC.
It's the end of the first period and no score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while we're in intermission, I want to transition over to the Sabres for a little bit. It was reported, I believe yesterday, that Mikhail Grigorenko, who Tim Murray had said last week, I believe in an interview, that the Sabres plan on qualifying him an offer. And yesterday it kind of came out that it was going to be a two-way deal. And Grigorenko wants a one-way deal. And then Pierre LeBrun, or Bob McKenzie?
Bob McKenzie.
Bob McKenzie. Thank you, Brayden. Bob McKenzie tweeted that Mikhail Grigorenko had been considering a lucrative KHL contract. So there's a couple ways to look at this for me. One, if there's he could always go to the KHL. He could play really well over there. He could develop a little more and then come back.
I find that hard to believe.
I also do. That's why let him go over there, you are really risking the fact that he never comes back.
Kind of like a Radulov situation with Nashville a couple years back.
Right.
And that, even when he does play out the rest of his rights to the Sabres, he's not the same player, and then he leaves again.
So at this point,
that's what it feels like.
what would you want? Where would you want Mikhail Grigorenko playing next season?
I mean, I'd want him here.
In Buffalo.
I believe
In
he has the
Buffalo.
capability of earning himself a spot on this
Yeah.
20-man roster.
See, I agree with you. He has the capability, but has he earned a one-way contract yet?
He hasn't earned a one-way contract yet, and that's where the problem lies. He feels, and this is partially the fault of Darcy Regier for treating him like a hero and then bumbling his contract throughout his tenure. But the thing is that he has not earned it. He should know this. It's just that his ego was fed way too early in this organization, and he feels entitled to. Well, at first he felt entitled to everything that he had. He looked like he played better and he responded more appropriately. And and to see this again, it just. I want to see him in Buffalo, but now if I'm Tim Murray, I'm putting out feelers.
That's the thing that I feel bad for Mikhail Grigorenko for, is that this is not his fault whatsoever.
It's not.
We all have to agree. This is not his fault.
He was treated like a god and a deity before he even put skates on in Buffalo.
Yeah. Clearly he was not ready, and it didn't help that it was a lockout-shortened season because, he had 6 games instead of the 9 games that he would have been given in a full regular season to prove that he was ready, which obviously he wasn't ready, but Darcy Regier said, I think you're ready to play. Go out there and start playing, and Lindy Ruff was was like, I mean, Lindy Ruff was basically
Lindy Ruff
saying,
was like, dude, what are you doing?
yeah, he's like, I don't
want him
think
here."
he's ready. And then Lindy got canned. Ron Ralston came in and didn't help at all. So
Ron
then
Ralston
they sent
came
him
in
back.
and then everything went down.
Yeah.
See, a big thing with that is, too, Lindy Ruff may have been feeling that he had to save his job, so he couldn't really afford to take time with Grigorenko and improve him because he's trying to save his job.
Yeah.
Rolston maybe on another thing because he knew he was on an interim basis and he was on thin ice and that he had to do well right then and there, and he couldn't really afford for Grigorenko to take time to be good. Now that you've got Bilesma in place and you know that he's going to be here for a long time, he's a sturdy coach. We know he's going to be the coach for the next few
Also, the
years.
team's coming off of a rebuild that is of epic proportions.
Right, so then maybe there's more stability for Grigorenko in the coaching staff, and I feel like this would be the best place for him to be. Or I shouldn't say that, because I believe he should be in Rochester to start the season, from what I've seen. He could always change my mind during training camp or how he plays up until then. But
the weird
this
thing
is the best situation that's been set up in Buffalo for him.
Yeah, but the weird thing is that last training camp, it looked like he earned himself a spot on
I thought
this
he did.
team. And the fact that he took the demotion so well kind of makes this report like almost seem like, come on, man, we were doing so well here.
Maybe he's upset about Ted Nolan.
But then
firing.
again, he might be the only one that might be upset about it. But
It's possible.
I don't know. Ted Nolan did call him out pretty bad.
Ted
in the media,
Nolan
so.
really seemed to be the only guy that get through to him.
That is true.
As funny as it is, because it is funny.
Lackadaisical.
Yeah. I mean, Ted Nolan got through. It seemed like he got through to him. Mikhail Grigorenko was throwing hits. Like, I never saw that before.
I just, I wonder if it's just, just speculation at this. I mean, it is speculation at this point, but I
Yeah.
wonder if it's just being hyped up.
Yeah.
Grigorenko has said in the past he wants to be here, but the thing is that his agent might be putting words in his mouth because
Yeah.
Grigorenko's still only, 21 years
He's
old?
going to be 21 this year.
21.
Yeah, exactly. He's still a kid. He's still
his
a kid.
agent is
I saw this tweet last night. Is Anthony Mantha a top prospect? Is he a very good one? Do you see what he does in that?
I think that in the Red Wings organization, he's not highly sought after anymore because I mean you've got like Timu Pulkkinen who's there, and you got Dylan Larkin.
Because I saw a tweet last night that just like I love this tweet.
I think I know what tweet you're talking about.
It says Anthony Mantha, 33 points, 62 AHL games, born 1994, top prospect. You want to argue that? I mean, he's still a good prospect at the least. Mikhail Grigorenko, 40 points, 52 AHL games, born 1994, bust. He hasn't. He should not have been in the NHL.
No,
and
exactly.
that has ruined his reputation.
Exactly, and not only that, but Mantha is. I mean, he was able to go to the AHL a year early because he played his four full years of junior hockey, and he went to the AHL at age 19. That is saying something because of the fact that he's still 19 years old, and he has a leg up on Grigorenko, whereas Grigorenko, he couldn't go back down to Rochester because of the stupid rule that the NHL and the CHL have, where if you haven't played your 4 years of junior hockey, you can't go to the AHL.
Would you trade him straight up for Mantha?
No.
I would.
Yeah.
I would, because you already have a deep depth at center. Grigorenko's a center. Yeah, he can play wing, but you know what? Mantha is big. He's 6'5". He doesn't use his body very well. He's not the best of a skater. But, I mean, they're, in that aspect with the skating game, they're almost exactly the same because Grigorenko's not the greatest of a skater. I think we all know that. He's not a great skater.
Horrible.
Yeah.
He's better than he used to be, though.
Yeah, better than he was when he first started.
He was like he needed one of those guardrails that the kids use going around the ice.
That was Tyler Myers. That was Tyler Myers. But
my.
but the thing is that, Mantha, what makes him different from Grigorenko is his size, and, I think that, honestly, I think Mantha's, more of a goal scorer than Grigorenko is.
I would agree with that.
Mantha was taken, 7 picks later, 6 or 7 picks later than Grigorenko was, and in their draft class respectively, because, Grigorenko was 12th in 2012, and then Mantha was
20th, I believe.
I want to say
I'm on it.
I want to say it was 18th in 2013.
20th overall, 2013.
20th, 2013.
So 8 picks later.
Okay.
I would say, though, if Mantha was in the 2012 draft, he would go higher than Grigorenko did.
I think he would have as well.
So.
The 2012 draft class was pretty weak.
Yeah. Remember, Mantha didn't start coming on as a top prospect until a little bit later in his junior development. Because guys that went in front of him: Kirby Reichel, Mirko Mueller, Ryan Polak, Alexander Wenberg. You got guys in here that. The common fan in Buffalo probably hasn't heard of.
I wrote a little piece on our blog site, Neutral Ice, on sportsblog.com, and I wrote that the Sabres should acquire Anthony Mantha.
Yep.
And
I agreed with you.
Here's the thing: is that Anthony Mantha, in his 4 years with Val d'Or in the Quebec Major Juniors, he started out. In the 2010-2011, he was still a kid. He only played 2 games. But then after that, he played 3 years with Val d'Or. He was the alternate captain in his last year. He went to the World Juniors in 2014 when that was in Sweden. And in that tournament, he had 5 goals and 6 assists for Team Canada. Before that, he had 89 points in his draft year, 50 goals. And then in his year after the draft, he had 57 goals, 63 assists. That's 120 points in just 57 games, and was a huge factor in Val d'Or winning the Quebec Major Junior League championship, and then them going to the Memorial Cup. Huge factor. He was their top scorer on the Val d'Or team when they went to the Memorial Cup.
In the whole league.
I wouldn't doubt it whatsoever.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it whatsoever.
Yeah, he definitely was a huge part of that team's success that year.
Yeah, and Mantha's 6'5", 205 pounds. The thing is just, he's got great hands. He's got a really nice shot. Yeah. It's just his skating skills can be better, and he doesn't utilize his size.
Yeah. In the skating, that can be worked on. That's something that he'll gain over time.
To answer your question, Joe, with trading him for Grigorenko straight up, I don't think it's going to happen. But yes, I would do it if that was the case. Absolutely.
I would do it too. Honestly, I think their values are very similar.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of, at the time, remember that Hodson-Cassian deal, it was kind of flipping your wing depth for center depth in the organization. To me, this would kind of be like flipping your center depth for wing depth.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and Mantha can play both sides of the rink. He can play left or right.
You're going to need
He reminds me a winger. He reminds me a lot of like a Nick Baptiste with the way he's utilized, is because Baptiste can play left or right wing. He's primarily a right winger, but for Erie, he was put on the left wing. And for the power play, he was put on the right side for the power play. And boy, did Baptiste have a fantastic shot from the right side, and he still does. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But Mantha is the exact same way, just on the opposite side of the ice, on the left side of the ice. I would love to go out and try and trade for Anthony Mantha if the price is right and if he's available.
Mantha would come right in, and he would be the top winger prospect in the organization.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because, right now you don't really have a guy drafted in the first round. You had that in Joel Armia and even Brendan Lemieux to an extent because, of course, he was second round, but he was top of the second round. But those 2 guys are gone. So really what you're looking at now is you got a bunch of second and third round picks that are showing promise in juniors, but you can't guarantee that any of them are going to come into the NHL like you can with Eichel and Reinhardt, for instance. Mantha would kind of give you that where you don't know at some point, but you have a pretty good idea that he is going to step in and have a top 6 role with one of your top 2 centers. And that's really, they don't have anyone that you can really bank on that right now. With Baptiste or Bailey, or you're hoping JT Compher can become that, or Hudson Fasching, and all these guys are second, third, fourth round picks, and you're just hoping.
Yeah, at this point, you are hoping. Mantha, I'd say he's probably going to need at least one more year in the American Hockey League. But if he starts, if the Sabres do get him and he plays in Rochester, that just makes Rochester even better. So you got Baptiste and Bailey coming in. You can probably, I would guess that Mantha would probably be your top right winger or second line right winger, and then right after that you'd have, probably you could put Baptiste in left wing or right wing or however you want to manage it with the Rochester. Exactly. The young prospect core, you can utilize a lot of them in different ways. Yeah. Some you're going to have to wait on more than others, but I think that if the Sabres go out and acquire Mantha, I think that his chances would, maybe not. Maybe his chances wouldn't be any more different than they would be in Detroit. But in Buffalo, it would be a clean slate for him because I think it was their VP of operations, Jimmy Delavano, I think his name is. Can't remember, but I mean,
it's like that.
It seemed like he just ripped Mantha apart. Absolutely ripped him apart for his play. Just, disappointing. That's all we can say. And he's still 20 years old. He's still got another year, and people are saying he's a bust already. He had 1 year in the AHL.
Yeah.
1 year, and he had
played
and he had a successful junior career.
Yeah.
Now, if he has the same year that he did this past year, and everybody thinks, oh well, he's a disappointment, maybe you could say that he's a bust, but I just can't say it right now.
It's too early.
Yeah, it's way too early. Grigorenko, on the other hand, if he goes to Russia, then you can obviously say, well, that was a waste of a first round pick. Although that was the same year we did get Zemgus Girgensons, so that was a good benefit from that. Yeah. But still, it's a waste of a first round pick. He was drafted 12th overall, and Marek Zagerpan was drafted 16th overall.
Never saw him.
Let's
not talk
about it.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to talk about
Marek
it.
That may be a
Zagerpan was
curse
probably
word
one of the
for
worst.
Sabre fans.
Last point on Grigorenko real quick. Quick answer for everyone. Would you trade him right now? Yes or no?
If I could package him in a deal to get,
because I'm sure there were teams out there that would give him a one-way contract.
I made this point yesterday when the first reports came out. I said that the only way I believe Grigorenko goes back to Russia to play in the KHL is A, if the Sabres don't re-sign him and he doesn't get anybody else's interest, or B, the Sabres trade him to a team he doesn't want to play for. Because, I mean, if let's just hypothetically say Buffalo actually makes a trade for Ryan O'Reilly, you would probably assume Grigorenko's might be a key piece in that deal. It's probably going to be a defenseman. The defenseman's going to be that top piece, whether it's Zadorov or Pezic, or maybe the Avalanche value McCabe in a certain way that they do over the other two.
Well, they're not touching Ristolainen.
No. Ristolainen is one of those no touches. Or, no goes.
No, he's proven to be immovable at this point.
Yes, I agree. But let's hypothetically say that Pezic is the main piece of this deal.
Okay.
It would be Pezic, and I think you'd have to trade Grigorenko as well.
Yeah.
And then probably the 21st overall pick in the draft, and then probably throw your name out there, prospect, or another pick this year.
Mid-round pick.
Yeah, exactly. And then Buffalo would get Ryan O'Reilly and maybe a conditional pick. I don't know.
I wouldn't even come close to that, honestly. Just because with all I've been researching a lot more on these prospects recently.
Right.
This draft is really deep.
Yeah. This draft
that
is
21st
deep.
pick. That's a good 21st pick, and you're going to get a really good prospect.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that
depending on who you pick,
after pick honestly, after pick 20, it just drops.
I agree.
It drops considerably.
I feel like there's some teams that might take a reach on some players, though, and they might allow the Sabres to get one of those top 20 prospects.
Yeah.
You only need 2 teams to reach.
Yeah, I think there was the draft on Fansided's doing a draft, and the Sabres ended up having Timo Meier at 21, which would be
insane.
That would be insane, first of all, but second of all, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
For some people that don't know, Timo Meier, I believe, was 10th on the NHL's Central Scouting Service rankings.
I think so for North American skaters.
That might have been Rantanen. I get them mixed up all the time.
I get
those Finns.
I think that a lot of people are they're valuing Pavel Zacha over Timo Meier. I just can't. I can't take
Zacha is so boomer boss.
Zacha,
I don't know why.
Yeah. Meier, and everybody's. And there's another thing that's been saying about Meier is that people are just like, oh well, that's a product of him playing with Nikolai Ehlers on the same line. I don't think so.
They said that about Nikolai Ehlers with Jonathan Drouin, and some people said that about Jonathan Drouin with Nathan McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
That eventually, you know what? Just accept that Halifax has all these great
Timo
players.
Meier is not close to being NHL ready right now.
No.
He's gonna need another year. Yeah. But again, that's another year. The prospects after the top 2 of McDavid and Eichel they're either going to be ready for the NHL this year and play either a full season or their 9 games and go back to juniors, or B, they're just going to need one more year and then they can contend for a spot on an NHL roster. And then after that top 20 range, it drops to 2 years in junior or minor leagues, and then they might have a chance. But once you get after 20, it's going to be more of a project. Yeah. Really,
you're not when you draft a guy, especially outside the top 5. Cannot expect him to be in the NHL right away or even for the first 2 years.
No, absolutely not.
It just doesn't happen.
That's probably
why Curtis Lazar this year was like one of the few exceptions I've seen of a guy that goes past 15 playing the NHL right away.
Yeah. I think that The one player that's in the in the top range that's going to be NHL ready right away, and in my opinion, is Ivan Provorov.
Yes,
I think this draft class is good, but a lot of the players are not going to be playing right away. I mean, it's Eichel, McDavid, and then in my opinion, Provorov, and I really can't see anybody else on this list playing right away in the NHL.
See, what Ristolainen kind of proved to me is if you are a rookie and you want to play in the NHL right away, you're not going to get it from your hockey sense and your talent really right away, because that you have to take some time to catch up on that.
Yeah.
If you want to play in the league right away, you're gonna have to take a reduced role, and you're gonna have to get there because of your size. You have to be a mature player. We saw that with Reinhart this year. Reinhart, he has the brains we know to be a successful player in the future.
He's one of the smartest players that I've seen.
But when his skating and his body type, he's way too thin to play. He was way too thin to play in the NHL.
And he's built up since the beginning of the season.
That's why even Tim Murray said last week that he wants Reinhart to start the season in Buffalo.
Yeah,
which I would expect that to happen.
I expect it to happen too.
So I mean, even Reinhart, second overall pick.
Just look at the way Reinhart played for Team Canada at the World Junior Championships.
Unbelievable.
He was Canada's best player.
He was the best player in the tournament, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
He outplayed Eichel and McDavid.
Oh, the plays that he was making, the smart IQ that he has, his anticipation is incredible. I mean, he can read a play happening probably at least 5 seconds before it's going to happen, which puts him in that great position to get chances and score. I think that Reinhart was the best option available for Buffalo after Aaron Ekblad was drafted number 1.
And you know why Ekblad had a great season? Because he's a man-child.
Oh,
he is a man-child.
Aaron Ekblad is, now that he was living with Willie Mitchell for a full season in Florida, going into the draft, he was, a 25-year-old kid in an 18-year-old kid's body. Now with the way that he played this season and the way he acts, he's probably like a grizzly 33-year-old veteran who's in a 19-year-old kid's body. It's unbelievable the progress that Aaron Ekblad had this season.
And
it was unbelievable.
He's amazing.
Right now, he's looking like he'll develop into the best defenseman in the NHL. If he keeps on this pace.
There's a chance. There's an absolute chance.
Really good.
He's got the talent for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Breakaway.
Yep. No. Stamkos missed. Yeah. Again, your feed's very behind.
Yeah, you are very behind.
Just an update on the Stanley Cup Finals. Still nothing is the score. 18:40 left to go.
Had a breakaway
in the second period.
Honestly, I think he made too many moves.
Well, he kind of was forced in closer than he wanted to on Corey Crawford.
Chased.
He had to slow down. I mean, it was pretty cool how he just slowed down on a dime. Just really, really quick, just slowed down. It was like, good chance.
I don't know why he went Deacon though. I would have just.
He's got the best shot in the league, arguably.
So
that's why
going back to the prospects here, I'm gonna have my top 100 lists of prospects being released soon. Don't know when, but soon, because if you don't know, I write for a website called Savers Hockey Central, and as of late, we've been getting hacked a lot by people.
Been unfortunate.
A lot of people have been
weekend.
hacking our website, so we're trying to fix that. And then it was hacked. It was hacked on Saturday, got fixed, and then yesterday it got hacked again.
Oh, man.
So we're trying to figure out something. But anyways, I will have my top 100 prospect list posted onto Twitter when it comes up. And if you don't follow everybody on Twitter, I'm at BJ Wilson WGR. The Neutralize account is at Neutralize WBNY. Joe?
At DiBiase, DIBIASE WBNY.
Frank?
At Frank R. Curry, FRANKARCURY.
And Derek?
At Derek Kramer, DEREK KRAMER 49.
Cool. Awesome.
Derek
yes.
and Frank with the most creative Twitter handles.
Anyways, yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta get your point across.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a quick point on Reinhart real quick, because when you look at what Tim Murray's building here, a lot of the prospects in this system, they're big and they're fast.
Yeah.
Reinhart is kind of neither of those things. This makes me think about Cody Hodgson for this. The way Murray is building his future roster is size and speed. Hodgson also doesn't really have either of those things. In my opinion, he's not going to want two of them. So is this a...
But there's a difference. There's a huge difference between Hodgson and Reinhart.
But for the future, in his ideal mind, he doesn't want both here, which is why I believe he's going to buy out Cody Hodson.
Oh, I think
even though I don't want him to, but I think he's gonna.
Yeah, I think he's gonna as well. I can't see Cody Hodson being on this team next year.
Stay in Sweden, where he's working on his skating.
Working on in Sweden, stay in Sweden. No, but
I'd say that jokingly. I believe even if he gets bought out, he'll get an NHL job.
Yeah, I think that he'll go to a team that, will utilize him the way that he was utilized before Ted Nolan, with offensive face-offs and everything like that. But
that's my thing. He can be successful, but he's not going to have the opportunity.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can't really compare Reinhart to Cody Hodson because of the fact that just Reinhart brings a different style of game.
Well, I didn't mean to compare them player-wise. I meant to compare them like size and skating.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like Murray's going to want two guys that lack those.
Well, I think Reinhart has improved on his skating since, early this year. I think that he's a much more
Rochester
better skater.
He was skating on a line with Phil Varone and Grigorenko for a time. He was definitively faster than Grigorenko. Varone's a good skater, and he was right with him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So
and Phil Varone was probably one of the fastest skaters on Rochester.
Yeah, and Reinhart was on 2-on-1s, skating right with him.
Yeah, and, Reinhart, again, he built up his size. He's gotten a little bigger. How much more bigger is he going to get? I can't really tell because he's probably not going to be a giant man-child or anything like that. But
he's not Ristolainen.
No, he's not Ristolainen, but he's definitely I mean, Buffalo, I think everybody agrees here that Buffalo wants Sam Reinhart to become like the Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah.
For the Sabres.
Except the difference is we have who do we want to compare Eichel to here? Getzlaf?
Probably Getzlaf.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's say it's Getzlaf. Boston doesn't have that.
No.
Krejci.
No.
And if Reinhart can become Bergeron, I mean, Eichel blows away anything Krejci will ever become.
And if Eichel becomes like a Getzlaf comparison and Reinhart becomes a Bergeron,
that's insane.
That's two players that you could possibly have as captains on your team because Eichel did captain Team USA at the World Juniors. Did a fairly decent job, although they had an early exit. And then Reinhart has captained Kootenay for the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And remember, Getzlaf and Bergeron were both centers on Team Canada.
Yeah.
When they won gold.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Yeah. And Getzlav's the captain for Anaheim, and Bergeron is an alternate captain for Boston.
That's not even counting Gergensen, who could
honestly, be a captain.
All fans want him to be captain.
Yeah, everybody wants him to be captain.
I would make him captain
There's
right now.
a lot of guys that are prospects and are current players.
Pizik was captain of Edmonton Oil Kings when they won the Memorial Cup.
Yep, I think he was an alternate captain in Rochester for most of the year this year.
As what, a 20-year-old?
Yep, 21. Actually, he was 22, I
think Ristolainen might have been captain when Finland won. I might be wrong on that. Oh, I am wrong. I'm sorry. He was not.
He was an alternate. He was an alternate. I think the captain of that team was...
Was Zadorov an alternate in London?
He might have been.
Zadorov might be not on the short list of guys we think about when we think of leadership, though. Just at this point.
Yeah.
Just a thought, though.
I don't know if anyone heard this, but Zadorov got married over the weekend, and
Congratulations.
There was a joke on Twitter that 5 of his wedding presents were alarm clocks.
Oh yeah, Lindy Ruff's tie. I saw that tweet last night, and I was working, and I'm just in the studio, just dying, laughing because
you gotta wake up.
Yeah, because it was literally off of Amazon.com, and Lindy Ruff's tie was the one who posted it, and he probably looked it all up, and it was just like alarm clocks. Took 4 different screenshots, and then well thought out, well planned. Kudos to you, Lindy Ruff's tie, for listening right now. Kudos to you.
Whoever you are.
You are a great account to follow for the Sabres.
It's Lindy Ruff. Clearly.
It's not Lindy Ruff's tie.
Lindy Ruff does have a Twitter account, though.
Yes, but nobody knows.
It was secret.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think not a lot of people know what it is.
No, it's not.
I don't know what it is.
It's not.
Do any of you guys know what it is?
No, I remember seeing it, but it was a while ago. So Brayton, I know you think he's getting bought out. Frank and Derek, you think Hodson's getting bought out?
I think
probably.
I think so.
It's hard to see him not. I mean, the only argument against it is, by the way, it would be $700,000 a year for the next 6 years.
I'm fine with
that's not a serious hit.
That's not serious.
The one argument against it would be Sabres have so much cap room that it doesn't even matter for the Sabres.
I want to see it.
Yeah, but with also the likelihood of possibly, with offer sheets and making a couple, one, we know it's likely they're going to make one big trade. If the likelihood they make another one too, that if they're getting some big time players, they're going to take on a cap from that they can afford to take out Hodgson's contract.
Well, at some point they will, to me, have to buy him out if he doesn't improve, because
it seemed
you're going to have to re-sign. Remember, Eichel isn't going to be drafted yet, but there's going to be a time 3-4 years down the road where you're going to have to re-sign him.
Re-sign him. You got to re-sign
Ristolainen, Zadorov, Gergensen.
Ristolainen will be next season.
Yep, Ristolainen will be restricted next year.
Gergensen too, I think.
Gergensen as well.
So you got to lock those two up. I mean, they might get bridge contracts.
They're only going to get bridge contracts
but,
now.
How long are those going to be? 2 years?
2 years, maybe 3.
Okay, so
I would guess that both of them would probably get anywhere between like 1.5 and 3 million.
Yeah,
because both players are good players. I mean, Gergensen's, granted, he was voted into the All-Star game, but he was an All-Star. Let's all consider that. He was an All-Star.
It's something to consider.
Ristolainen will probably be an All-Star a year or two down the road from now when he's fully developed, fully grown into his NHL body.
Yeah.
Because, I think we all saw it that Ristolainen still has some room to grow as an NHL player.
You also have, real quick, you have Marcus Foligno and Nick Delorier, who will also be restricted after this season.
Yeah.
Harry Snaps.
We have so many people at this point.
I would assume both of them get offer sheets too. Or not offer sheets, I'm sorry. Bridge contracts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see either one of them
leaving
the organization.
Foligno probably get like
he'll get
Foligno already
got a bridge.
Yeah, well,
yeah. He'll be a part of the organization, in my opinion. And
Delorier would be like a 2-year contract with maybe like $1 million a year.
And then this year they've got Mark Pysyk to still sign, and
he'll get
Johan
a bridge
Larsson.
contract. He'll get an offer. Grigorenko, I still think Grigorenko's going to get an offer. I think he
will.
Is.
Well, he'll get an
my
offer.
opinion, though,
it's whether he stays is the question.
If they're going to offer someone a one-way, it's going to be Larsson over Grigorenko.
I would have to agree on that.
Larsson proved more last year. He was playing on the top line with Ennis and Molson.
Larsson,
it was because of injury, but he played well.
Fourth line role too of that center.
He might be your future fourth line center going forward.
If he develops fully, because I mean, there's still a lot of questions. I mean, it was sort of like a Foligno thing when he first got called up. He played so many great games, and then after that, it was kind of like, oh well, can he continue this into the next season? He had that one real tough swing early in that one part. He did get hurt.
Yeah, he's been
once or
battling
twice.
a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still think Foligno can develop into I don't know if I want to say premier power forward, but a really good power forward. Really good power forward in the league.
One.
Yeah, worst case scenario, I think he can still be a reliable fourth liner.
Yeah.
I mean, if your fourth line in the future is Larsson, Delorier, and Foligno, they don't really have to fully develop, I think, for that to be a productive line.
Because I mean, you look at some of the top power forwards in this league. I mean, as much as Buffalo does hate Milan Lucic, you have to say Milan Lucic is probably an elite power forward in this league.
He might get traded.
Oh yeah, I think that it's
Boston would be smart too.
Boston would be smart too because he's got a pretty big cap hit, and he has been getting hurt more.
And he did not. I'm going to look up his numbers real quick, but he did not have a very.
I think this year was a career low for him in a full 82 game schedule. I want to say because I think that
he had in 81 games. Where'd you go? Hockey Reference. Oh,
come on!
18 goals and 26 assists.
Yeah, that's not great.
His career high in points is 62. That was back in 2010.
Okay.
He is 27.
So I mean, it's
just turned 27
a
week ago.
But I mean, you would probably. It's fair to say that Lucic is probably one of the best power forwards in the NHL.
Do we need Lucic though? I don't think so.
Not in Buffalo. No.
No.
And at that cap hit?
No. I wouldn't want Lucic. Unless
Boston's probably going to want a lot for him.
Oh yeah, they're probably going to want a first round pick for him.
When you look at Boston too, they have $4 million in cap space right now,
and they still got to sign Dougie Hamilton.
If they were smart, they would dump Chara and Lucic, and they would try to re-sign Carl Soderberg.
They should.
They're not going to.
They're not going to re-sign Kyle
Adam
Soderberg.
McQuaid too. They might not have enough money to re-sign.
They
him.
won't
It's a good
re-sign Adam
defenseman.
McQuaid. I think McQuaid's going to free agency.
I mean, they're
Matt
vulnerable right now.
Bartkowski is probably going to free agency because he's been in the Bruins organization for so long and he hasn't developed yet.
Let me ask this: if some team offers Dougie Hamilton a very large offer sheet, do they trade Chara Lucic? They might have to.
They might
Depending
have
on
to.
how big it is.
They might have to, but I mean, if the offer sheet is that large, I can't see them bringing him back just because of that.
So you're saying they might let him walk?
They might just let him walk. Who knows?
They may as well just
That, but I mean, I'm sure that before he hits the free agent market and teams are able to offer him, I'm sure that Don Sweeney's making phone calls saying, "Hey, if you want Dougie Hamilton, the rights to him, you better give up a pretty penny for him."
They also have Brett Connolly and Ryan Spooner, who are also
restricted. that Connolly trade, man, that did not work out for them. I mean, they were in the mix for Chris Stewart.
Yeah,
and
they
then
offered Spooner in a second, reportedly. Which is enormous.
Which I mean, Tim Murray, he wanted more for Stewart, and then he ended up, probably I don't know if the word was panic. I don't know if the word is panic. Settled, yeah, that's probably a better one.
With Torrey Mitchell.
Yeah.
7th rounder.
Torrey Mitchell
AHL
just got
goon.
re-signed to a 3-year deal.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was either the goon or a kid that refused to come back to the Canadiens organization and just stayed in Sweden. I would rather have the guy who's playing here than the kid that has some issues with not wanting to play in North America. But
would you be interested in the Sabres offer sheeting any of those three? I would be interested with Spooner, honestly.
Spooner, Hamilton,
it would not be a lot.
Who was the other guy?
Brett Connolly.
Brett Connolly,
I would not.
Spooner would probably be the only one, but I think that Spooner's going to stay in Boston.
I mean, of course, I would want Dougie Hamilton, but the
Dougie
amount of
Hamilton's
money,
going to cost a lot,
and even if you get that,
you have to give up quite a bit
is
too.
He worth 3/4?
What's his salary?
What was his salary?
Yeah, what was his salary this past year?
Let's look on General Fanager.
Hey, what do you know?
It was 920 or 800,000.
800,000,
and he got an $850,000 performance bonus. Interesting that they have that.
All right. Side note:
Bruins
continuing to watch the Stanley Cup Finals, I've got a great and much deeper appreciation for Victor Hedman.
Oh, Victor Hedman's fantastic.
My God,
he in my mind,
this was his coming out party. These Stanley Cup playoffs have been his coming out party.
He might be the best defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah.
Arguably, he's up there.
He's playing
with the way he's been playing.
Yes.
He has vaulted himself from probably in the top 100 range to like top 20 range.
Yeah.
I mean, he has definitely shown his value. He was a former second overall pick. Second overall.
I think 2009.
2009. That makes sense. Right behind John Tavares.
What's that? An elite player? It's second overall.
Oh.
What?
What?
I can't hear with my headphones. What?
What?
Hey guys, where was Tyler Seguin picked?
Second overall.
Second?
Okay, just check.
What year? 2008?
Take that, Mike Milbury.
What?
You don't know crap.
2007? I can't
Joe,
remember.
that didn't need to really be stated. That's already kind of
yeah, that's true. Yeah, Mike Milbury's a joke.
Obviously.
Victor Hedman, by the way, this year in 59 games had 38 points, 10 goals.
Good.
Last year
really
in
good
75
for a
games, he had 13 goals and 55 assists.
So
That's a bad time to lose.
with Hamilton, 832,000. Let's go to the offer sheet eligibility tool on General Fanager.
Yes.
I would rather, by the way, I've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do it for Tarasenko.
Oh,
Yes.
God. Tarasenko?
Yes.
But you're going to have to go 4 first-round picks.
Yeah. With Hamilton, he's probably going to be in the... Hamilton's probably in the
I'll say like 3 or 4.
$3.54 million range. So it's
Yeah.
either it's either second-round pick or first and third-round pick. I think that's right.
I think Boston would match
That sounds
that.
about
I think
right.
Boston would match it easily.
What
but
amount do you honestly think you would have to offer him for Boston not to match?
It would have to be like right around 5 and 6.
Yeah, it would be stupid money. It would be Thomas Vanek stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I would rather do it for Tarasenko. Just
Yeah,
give up that
I'd
extra
rather.
first-round pick.
Yeah, but
And St. Louis, if that happens, I'm very confident St. Louis is ready to trade Oshie and maybe
or
Backes.
Yeah.
I think they would part with Oshie first, just because Backes is the captain, and honestly, I think he's a better player.
Honestly, I would offer. I think you'd get more for a guy like
Oshie?
No,
I
would
almost
get-
think
you would
Backus.
get more for a guy like Backus.
I would think so, too.
I think
Because-
Oshie is one of the most overrated players in the NHL, honestly, in my opinion.
Everybody
Part of
knows
it
him
is the
because
shootout
of the
hero.
shootouts. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
If you look at his career statistics, he's eclipsed 20 goals one time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's eclipsed 50 points twice. And I mean, he's been playing since 2008. He's been playing a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not some young kid. He's going to be 29 years old.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's going to develop into a better player. I think he is what he is. He's about a 20-goal scorer.
I hate
Jochen Hesch.
I hate to say this, but we're going to have to go off the air soon because not only are we having some really good conversations,
That's
but
okay. I want to
the
watch
Stanley
the
Cup Finals are still not at 0-0, halfway through the game, still no score.
and we need to be
Are
able to
we
watch
going
the
to
rest.
have a similar situation to the 2000 Stanley Cup Finals where it was low scoring? They went to double overtime. With but this
and
time
then
it
you
would
see a
be.
winner.
But this time, if Chicago scored, they'd win at home.
Yeah.
And if Tampa Bay won, well, Tampa Bay, they've been in this situation before. Low scoring game, 2004. Go to double overtime, early in double overtime. Marty St. Louis scores the game-winning goal to send them to Game 7, and then they went up.
After
controversy.
Iginla scored.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Martin Gillina.
Martin Jelena.
yeah.
Oh my God. Well, you know what's another name
It
that's
doesn't
famous
just
with that
happen to
series?
Buffalo.
You know what's another name that's famous with that series? Ruslan Fedotenko.
Fadatenko.
From the Ukraine.
Yep.
Fedotenko.
2
I
goals in
forgot.
Game 7.
Yeah.
And he still
That
didn't win the
second
Conn
goal-
Smythe.
Oh.
Well, next
Wow.
time we're on the air, we'll know who the Stanley Cup champion is.
Yes, we will.
Yep. And we
And
will
we
get
might have
ready
a
for
winner
the
tonight.
draft.
It'll either be in Chicago for the third time, or it'll be laying on
And
the beach
next
with
time-
Victor Hedman.
Next time will be the final Neutral Ice before we have our live Neutral Ice show Friday, June 26th.
Draft.
For the NHL Draft. Coverage begins right here on WBNY at 6 o'clock sharp. The NHL Draft, I believe, will start at 7 from Sunrise, Florida, home of the Florida Panthers.
Prime time.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's. I'm not sure of confirmation yet, but I think it's going to be on NBC Sports Network.
Real quick,
I would
over under
assume.
50 fans in the arena.
No,
I'm
I
taking
think
the over.
I think the arena will be filled. I think
Okay.
it'll be a full house because of the draft
I'm
picks
interested
that are
to see.
there. The
There's
fans.
going to be fans who are going to travel down.
I know of
draft.
one person that's traveling down there, maybe 2. I would have loved to have gone down, but I couldn't.
Don't
here.
lie.
But
You
you're
just
gonna
want
be
to go to
here. But you're
Florida.
here. It's
I would
okay.
love to go to Florida,
Just
but
wants
the
to go
thing
to
is
Florida.
I wanted to go for the draft. I mean, it was literally in my plans, like trying to plan it just to go down there for the hell of it.
Brayton, you
in
know what?
January?
I'll make a pact with you right now. Road trip. We're going to the draft next year.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go out. Let's get going. Let's go to the backyard. Oh wait, it's already there. We can just
Gonna have
walk
to
to
gas
it.
up the car for that 10-minute drive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes,
that
let's
would
do
be
it.
nice.
I'll
But-
buy the gas.
Anyways, we're just about out of time here on Neutral Ice tonight. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us on 91.3 FM WBNY, whether it's on your radio dial or the TuneIn app. Once again, a huge thanks to Tom Poraszka from GeneralFanager.com for joining us live on the show.
And for Nick Lippa calling
And
in.
for Nick Lippa
Yes.
for calling in. Nick, we
Lippa,
miss
we miss you.
And we're going to hopefully have you back for either next week or the live show. I'm thinking he's going to be here for the live show.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be here for the live show, so somebody's going to have to run the board. But anyways, again, 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo. This is Neutral Ice. We will be back next week, Monday. Don't forget, our live show is next week, Friday, the 26th of June, 6 o'clock, right here on Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM WBNY.